Stanley said.
Run!
Chris started screaming. They ran underneath the creature, out of the room, and down a hallway. The creature is only a few feet away from them. They didn't dare look back. The Great District Agency investigators are on assignment at an abandoned mansion in New Orleans. They are on the hunt for a vampire, a creature of legend and nightmare, recently spotted leaving a trail of drained corpse in the French Quarter. The air was thick with tension as they prepared to face an ancient evil within the mansion's crumbling walls. Chris said,
"This place gives me the creeps. Feels like it's waiting to swallow us whole."
Tracie said,
"I probably wouldn't be surprised if the roof caved in while we were looking for the vampire."
Stanley asked Claire, the Great District Agency's AI.
"Claire, what type of vampire are we looking for?"
Chris said,
"What do you mean? What type? Aren't vampires just pale-skinned bloodsuckers? Always portrayed as some kind of dark romantic being hooking up with women."
"Actually, Chris, there are different kinds. Claire, can you give us a breakdown of this specific vampire?"
Based on reports, a terrifying creature has been sighted that defies traditional monster tropes. Here's a breakdown of its characteristics. Physical description: bipedal, walks upright on 2 legs, likely exceeding human height. Leathery wings, similar to a bat. These wings allow for flight. Frightening appearance, described as monstrous and grotesque, more akin to a gargoyle than a vampire. Behavior and abilities: predatory, exhibits a strong urge to hunt and kill, similar to a ferocious beast. Superhuman strength, possesses immense physical strength, exceeding 3 times that of an average human. Mind control, may be able to manipulate or control the minds of others. Weaknesses: sunlight, vulnerable to ultraviolet light from the sun. Silver, this metal can harm the creature, though the extent is unknown. Decapitation, the only confirmed method to permanently unalive this creature. Important note: traditional vampire weaknesses, such as garlic and holy water, are reportedly ineffective against this creature. Additionally, staking it through the heart will only enrage it. This information paints a picture of a dangerous and potentially intelligent predator. Further investigation is necessary to understand its full capabilities and potential origins.
Stanley said,
"All right, listen up. We're dealing with a new kind of bloodsucker here. Forget your sparkly vampires from romance novels. This one's all teeth and claws."
Tracie said.
"Well, are we going inside or not?"
The investigators went inside. It's cold, dark, and it smells of death. They began looking around. Stanley said,
"Okay, stay sharp. If you run into it, don't engage. Find a way out and regroup here in 30 minutes.
Stanley found his way to a bedroom.
"Man, it's extra stank in here."
Stanley sees something in the middle of the bed.
What in the?
It's a large, grotesque pile of hot bat guano. Chris is in the large ballroom, looking around. He hears weird noises. Then he sees something moving. He started shaking. Then cautiously approaches. nothing's there. Tracie is searching the kitchen. Years of neglect were evident in the layers of grime. Tracie said,
Looks like someone...
her words died in her throat as she sees the vampire in the window staring at her. It immediately flies off. Minutes later, the investigators stumbled back into the foyer. Tracie said,
I saw it. It was standing outside the kitchen window. We stared at each other for a minute. Then it flew away.
Chris said.
Your looks probably scared it.
Tracie gave a "I'll mush you in the face" look at Chris. Stanley said,
I saw a large pile of steaming bat guano in the middle of a bed. It couldn't have been done no longer than 30 minutes ago.
Chris said,
Yeah, I was in an area that looked like a ballroom, and I heard strange noises. But I didn't see anything. Do y'all have y'all flashlights? Yep, yeah. We'll use our GDA flashlights, which emit UV light, to possibly paralyze it. And I'll restrain it with silver-coated chains, handcuffs, and shackles. While we're searching for it, let's use our ear comms to stay in contact. Okay.
All right.
the team resumed their hunt for the vampire. Tracie crept cautiously into the kitchen, her senses on high alert. Stanley slipped into one of the bedrooms, every creak of the floorboard making his heart race. Chris stepped into the ballroom, the vast emptiness amplifying his unease. They searched relentlessly, the silence pressing in on them. Stanley's voice cracked through the comms, breaking the eerie quiet.
We've been at this for hours. I'm way on the other side of the mansion. Everyone, stay where you are and get some rest. It should be back before the sun comes up.
Chris said.
Can I sleep in the truck?
No! Chris, we need you close by to help catch it. Now get some rest.
Chris' heart nearly stopped. It's the vampire. Chris alerted the team.
It's here in the ballroom.
Stanley said.
I'm on my way. Me too.
Chris starts to shake as he stares at the beast. Stanley shows up.
Chris, let's use our flashlights now. Tracie, where are you? I'm right here.
Tracie goes for her flashlight, but the vampire whispers to Tracie. Instead of Tracie using her flashlight, she said a spell.
Navamawas excelto.
And the spell was directed at Stanley and Chris instead of the vampire. Their flashlights flickered and died, releasing the vampire. Frozen by the spell, they stood rooted to the spot as the vampire took its chance and vanished into the mansion. Tracie's spell faded. Chris yelled,
Tracie, what have you done? You're a traitor.
Hold on a minute, Chris. Tracie, why did you help it escape? Huh? Help it escape? What happened? I remember helping by shining my flashlight on the vampire. And then Chris started yelling at me.
Stanley said.
Are you feeling okay, Tracie? You just put a spell on me and Chris. And it caused the vampire to get away. I feel a little lightheaded and weak. I think it controlled you with its mind. You're going to have to sit this one out. Go to the truck. Okay.
Tracie really didn't want to go, but she knew she wouldn't be able to help. Stanley said,
It's just you and me, Chris. Let's stick together and follow the plan.
Stanley and Chris discovered another room and began their search. Unbeknownst to them, a vampire lurked just outside the window, watching. Their search yielded nothing. They turned to leave, and it was standing in the doorway. Stanley and Chris immediately shined their lights on it. Unfazed by the light, the creature took a menacing step forward. And Stanley and Chris is terrified. Then, with the horrifying sound of its leathery wings, launched itself into the air. Stanley said,
Run!
Chris started screaming. They ran underneath the creature, out of the room, and down a hallway. The creature is only a few feet away from them. They didn't dare look back. They ran into another room. There was no door, and no time to barricade themselves in. Once inside, the vampire came in behind them and stood there in front of their only exit. It walked towards them. Chris screamed. Stanley remembers he has a small spray bottle of silver paint. He sprayed the vampire. The creature screamed and froze. They captured him. Stanley called the Great District Agency Containment Unit to come pick up the vampire, and Tracie made a full recovery.